I'm a professional DJ also.
Cool, Jesse. You've got everything. Dude, Floating Dutchman sent you a bottle of rum there.
Yo.
Treat yourself.
Dude, please.
What a nice company. I really love them. I've got everything. I've got the beza. I've got a coffee. I'm actually going to work in a quick coffee so I can chat.
Yeah.
So I can get that like caffeine back.
Caffeine back.
So you've got some headphones there.
Sick.
It doesn't make a big difference, and it seems to be only like a left or a right. But it like zones you into the conversation a little bit better.
I like that.
And then cell phones.
Probably keep mine
I'm gonna keep mine in flap mode, bruh.
flight mode, brother. Let's go there.
Let's go there. Let's make our escape. Come on, let's go there. Let's ask for a pizza. Coffee on the twister. Do you guys skate the Hamilton spot often?
I actually try and get people to go there, because the funny thing is, it is really how would you say? It is convenient for me because I stay pretty close. so I mean, that's not really the main reason why I want people to go there. It's because I freaking love going there. But a lot of the time I'm just like, no one really comes up with the solution. Everyone's just like, we want to go skate, and then it's never like, cool, let's meet here. Because I would always be like, fine, let's meet at the Slappy and then make a decision.
Take it from there.
Yeah.
For me, that's a below average skateboarder. Like a spot like that's a pretty accessible spot for me as well. From the get-go, you can skate it, you can ollie onto everything, dude.
Yeah.
And Chennai told me that Peter revamped that spot.
Yes.
Apparently, that's a new pavement. I don't know what you call. What's the correct English word for it? But the pavement is a new Peter Street special.
Yeah.
Bro.
So I guess,
and you can feel it when you're on that
give
thing.
you a bit of a background of that spot. So how we found that was also pretty special, because this was lockdown got lifted-ish. It was when you could exercise from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Sick.
3 hours of freedom, bro.
Yeah, man. And we would, I think it was almost every day. I mean, it might have changed once or twice, but we religiously went to this parking lot, also in Sea Point, very close to that spot, but it originally started in another parking lot. And that, because Peter, during lockdown, me and Julian kept begging him, like, oh, you gotta make slappies, man. Like, this was a long ongoing historical thing that's kind of boiled down to us, like, becoming into slappy, like, skateboarding, I guess. But I always used to speak to Julian about it, and he's like, yeah, man, like, my local skate park had one. We had like a few in the skate park, and it's like not a generic thing to have in a skate park, but there's a lot, like, in the European, because he's from Germany, and he's like, yo, I used to slappy quite a bit, like, from my local. And I was like, man, I've been dying to try it because I see it online, and I'm like,
something
I
don't
really
know
want to figure it out. And then I just kept going, because I know Peter makes stuff, and he makes the concrete things. And I was just like, come on, Peter. Like, because originally, actually, I don't know if you know the promenade very well, but, like, there's this section where there's just a nice concrete strip.
Okay.
Like, and for me, I imagined like a Venice Beach, like, from California, like a Venice Beach setting when there's all those slappies, like, along the skate spot.
Yeah.
And I was just like, imagine just a long slappy across that whole concrete spot, because it's like it's about like 30 meters of concrete slats, like
Yeah.
that separates the tar in that section, because it's sort of maybe like a bridge or something. I don't really know why it's concrete around there, but anyway, I was just begging Peter. I was like, I'm sure it should be fine if we like put a slappy curb there. People might just not see it or something. And then we were like, after a few conversations about it, we were like, probably won't happen, because like people will complain so much
Yeah.
about it. So it ended up progressing into him making some like movable ones, so you can sort of carry it, because he's got a bucky, and he was able to like put it in the back of the bucky and transport it to wherever.
Probably not the easiest thing to
No, and he actually told me that he loaded some of that. Some of those mornings when we met up for skating at that parking lot that I'll tell you about now. But he sometimes would load it by himself. Like, it's really heavy. Like, to pick one of those things up is like it's an effort. It's like because it's also quite. I mean, he did make little handles, so like little cutouts on the concrete, so you can put your hands in there, so you don't have to like kind of prop it up before you lift it. There is space for your hands to go under, but once you've lifted it, it's solid concrete. It's heavy, and he's loaded it before. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is like there was this parking lot, because he was asking on a group that we made. He was saying like, cool, I can make these, but where are we going to put it? Because we don't have a lot of spaces that are fine for you to put those things legally and to not be in the way. So this was, now they've lifted it, and you had the exercise times, and I was just like, there's this one parking lot that's sort of, it's random, because it's parking for like the people from Virgin Active, and there's a tennis court there, like a big tennis court. And I was like, people would use it, but they wouldn't park a lot. Like, it wouldn't be a lot of cars parked there. So I was like, let's try that one. And that was the original one where he started bringing the slappies there, and we started messing around there during those exercise times.
To me, it feels like that area is definitely the most secluded area in Sea Point.
Yeah, it's next to the police station also.
Yeah,
so it's
nobody
a quiet
there.
area. Yeah,
it's pretty sick.
And then we did get into a little bit of a situation with security, because some lady must have complained.
Okay.
And I don't know why, because.
So you guys managed to set that up without any permission?
Yeah, we did.
And it's been.
We probably skated it close to a month, like where we would go there. Maybe I would guess about three times a week to 4 times a week during that time, like COVID time. And then the security guard came, and he was like, guys, listen, I really don't want to kick you out of there. I don't really mind. It's a quiet parking lot, but someone has complained, so I have to kind of tell you now. And then we said, totally understandable. I know you're just doing your job. So we packed up that time, and then we were just on the group for like maybe 2 weeks. It was like sad, because we were just like, where else can we go? There's no other spots like to put. There's no parking lots really. And then they tried basically the entrance area to that Hamilton space. Because it is also a big parking lot that doesn't really get used, especially during that time, because no one was allowed to practice soccer or rugby. And it seemed like pretty like obvious that's a great spot. So we tested it first. We just put it in because there's the long road is like the entrance to that area, right?
Yeah.
And we just put it there for a bit, just to be like safe. And no complaints. It was an amazing place to skate. It was great. And then we tested it out for one day. We skated there for one day with these like removable curbs, and And then I guess we just tried the other parking lot again, and then it was fine because security was like, we kind of gave him a break, and then he's like, okay, it's fine, you guys are coming back, so let's just go with it. And then because we really liked that other parking lot, I guess it was like the first love kind of spot. You're just like so used to that spot, so kept going there. And then once lockdown sort of got lifted, then I just remembered the other spot, and I was like, it was quite interesting because it had like the manual pads and it had little gaps, and it was just nice and secluded for COVID times, because you're also so stressed, like you like don't want to be around people.
Still so unsure of what's going on, really.
So I thought that's quite a great parking lot to just go mess around, because the other parking lot that we used was really just a parking lot. There was not much else. Like it was just a flat.
I think that that little mani pad with the curb section, it's so much fun skating there. And it's got the tar surface is really smooth, and it's got a bit of a down slope, so you can keep speed while you're skating there. But to me today, that was really not fascinating, but fascinating is the fact that ledge is so slippery, dude. That thing, I'm not used to grinding curbside ledges, so I thought it was something that you'll have to slappy, but it seems like if you ollie onto it as well, you'll be able to.
It's a solid piece of concrete. Like Peter built that thing. So that's sorry of my long like round story to that, but so I'm gonna take the respect for this one, because I originally went there and I was like looking at that spot and I was like, there's no cars that can park in front of that curb, because it isn't a parking lot. There's no lines there. The lines go next to the curb. So in my head I was like, there'll never be a car parked in front of the curb. You can always skate it. So to me I was like, be so perfect because I thought in my head, cool, you can just paint a sidewalk with like thick paint and it'll be slippery then it won't chip. It'll be good to skate. So I went and I bought like a can of thick paint, like an enamel paint, and some sort of like a slick, like after product. It sort of like seals
a
like
treatment, basically.
Yes, a treatment. And I went there with my bicycle alone the one day, and I painted the curb blue. It was like a bluish grey. I thought it would be less intense as like maybe a white or like an intense color. So I thought it was a bit close to the grey of a of
put a lot of thought into this, Jussie.
And then while I was painting it, like the rugby club, the soccer club is on that side. And the one of the owners or one of the main people from there came, and he was like, sorry, what are you doing? And I was like, oh crap, that sucks. I kind of put some effort into this. Like I was like there like painting like in the blistering heat. It was like a hot day, and I was like perfectly chose that day because I knew it would dry quick. And I'm there painting the sidewalk, and this guy comes out and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And I was just like, I'm done now. I'm so busted right now. And I just had this like inkling, like just be like funny or something. And I was like, no, I'm just like making the sidewalk really nice. It looked like old and busted up. I just wanted to give it a nice finish. And then he looked at me and he was like, that's really not, you're not really doing it for that. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like I want to skate it, but the reason why I'm painting it is because it'll like save the integrity of the sidewalk. It won't break it. It'll sort of seal it off to make it like work nice for skateboarding, and it won't damage it. I'm trying to make it look nice. And the guy looked at me and he was like so like acceptable of it. He was like, that's really cool. But, do you mind coming and doing some paint work inside? We've got some work for you. And I was just like, oh, come on, dad joke. But it was so brilliant. I was like, once he cracked that joke, I was like, yes, we got these guys. We good, yeah. And then like after that, I told Peter and all the other dudes to come meet up there, because I once I painted it, it dried that day. I didn't skate it that day, and then the next few days it rained. So I don't know if it was bad for the curb or not, but we went like maybe 3 or 4 days later when the rain stopped, and we went to go skate it, and it was actually pretty great. Like for the first week, it was grinding like so good, but the only problem was it was like the classic sidewalk curb where there's quite a few dividers. So if each and every one of those dividers like catches your truck while you're grinding, and then it ends up chipping away in that divider.
I imagine the ollie doing that as well.
Yes, I think by that time a lot of guys were just oiling into it also, and then it ended up getting so bad that like those gaps that separate, because I think there were maybe about 4 or 5 of the separators in that curb, because it's quite long. And each and every one of those were chipped away so bad that you were grinding through like these hectic dips, and when you would lock in that specific spot, you would just stop. You wouldn't grind through that dip. And then it was a long debate, because Peter was saying the curb isn't even. It starts really low and then it ends off a bit higher. Like I think the tire is a bit at an angle. Because like you said, it is a bit of a downhill slope. Yeah. If you skated from where the gate is, the boom gate is, that's downhill. So it starts low on that side and ends a bit higher. Like a fraction, but you can't see it. And then he was saying, how am I going to build a curb that starts low and gradually ends up being higher? And then he brilliantly thought like, build 2 separate ones, like really long ones, so that it just has a center divide, so you can still skate the ends if it does chip away in the middle, just so that you don't have all of those like 4 or 5 dividers. And then he built those curbs because he's basically figured out this formula for concrete to set like so strong, solid, that doesn't chip. And you can see now that curb's been there for like maybe a year.
And it's been skated a lot as well.
Yes, and it's skated a lot, and it does not chip, and it's amazing. So he basically took the curbs. I was there on the day when he did it. 2 curbs, and then we just searched the whole area for like random pieces of like debris, like rocks and stuff, and then laid it all out in front of the curb, so you'd have like rubble basically at the bottom, and then we packed it with concrete, like soft mixed concrete, and then we laid the curbs on top of that and sort of like pushed it until it sort of leveled out with the other curb. So we basically just put a new curb in front of the old one.
It works so well.
Instead of like going and fixing, I mean, it would have been difficult to fix the original curb that was there. And then you just installed that new one, and it made such a massive difference.
And in a way, you don't really even see the old curb.
Yeah, it's almost like
disguised.
If you go now and thought of what I just said, like, and I'm sure you knew that there was an old curb behind that one, because it doesn't look like our sidewalks. It's a different sidewalk.
Yeah.
But you'll see it now if you go there. It's definitely, you see the old curb still there. It's like very visible still.
Yeah, what I noticed from the old curb, it's done its job, you know.
Yeah.
I want to like pick your brain on some of the local skaters. I've been following like Ethan and then Alex. Alex was there today. Like he's one of my favorite local skaters at the moment. I've been pretty impressed with what Ethan and Alex have been doing, dude. Like even watching Alex skate today, the way you would like gun for that hill, dude.
Yeah.
Gnarly tail slide, gun for the hills, full speed. I really, really dig that. Are there more homies that are drawing your attention?
I mean, those guys definitely draw my attention. Like, and I think I think a lot of other people have recognized them for that, because also
Because they're still young as well, right?
they are young. I won't be able to tell you how old, but they must be in their like early 20s, like 21 or 20.
That's what I suspect. I suspect like 23, before pre-25.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for them, they've been coming for a long time. They've always been present. Where it would be more at a skate event, like a competition or something, they would always be present with like the 20 skate guys, and they would be there ripping.
Shredding,
like
dude.
really good, like young, and they've come a long way. Like they've definitely moved away from the competition side, and they are core street skaters now. And you've seen it with your own eyes. Like Alex today was approaching a downhill spot with speed and aggression. You know, like to see that in a young kid is really exciting to see. You know.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, like the older dudes, we pay a lot of attention to that, and we try. I don't want to make it a we us thing, but we really do like want them to succeed, because you know that's always how it is. You come from a like maybe a certain upbringing in skateboarding, and you see things and you experience things, and you have your own outlook of skateboarding, and you like it to be similar. And when you see a kid like that, you sort of want to influence them in the right ways.
No.
Because maybe, to be honest, maybe that's not the right way. Maybe there is another right way to someone else, but to us, that's our right way, you know. And then I'll give Hubert big credit for this, because he did sort of take them under his wing, you know, and send them into a good direction, but also giving them their space, you know. Like I feel he doesn't cramp them with saying like what they have to do and how they need to be, how they need to dress, what they need to do, but he does facilitate everything that they need, you know. He helps them out with like taking them to skate spots, filming them, getting them recognized. And I think that attention that they got really made their like minds up on how they want to skate, you know. And I think he's a really good facilitator, and he, like those three kids, Devandre, Alex, and Ethan, they're getting pushed in such a cool way. And I mean, it's almost now that it's not up to who's influencing them anymore or who's pushing them anymore. It's like their own skaters. Like you can see they would make their own missions and like do iPhone edits or something, where they would go and do stuff, but still pretty damn good. Like you wouldn't clearly be like rad. The only reason why they skate so good is because they go on full missions with Hubert, and then he maybe pushes them to do hard things and impressive stuff. They would do that in their own time, and they would maybe go out to a bar, and then they'd have their boards with them, and they'd go street skate like at night and film like an iPhone clip of them doing like a heavy trick. Yeah. And then you'd be like, man, like that was me as a kid too. And it's so cool to see, because really that cool to me is what street skating means. It means like you, that kid that rocks up at the bar, like unfortunately, yes, you stinky, you like dressed bad, you got like broken shoes, your clothes is like torn, and you just look dumb, and then other kids will like look badly at you. But that's how punk it is. It's like if you rock up at like a bar like that with your skateboard, and they were like, oh, it's just that skater kids, bro. Like to me, that is so rad, because no one's really looking at those kids arriving, like maybe because they're wearing cool clothes or something, but no one really has that feeling where you're like, cool, I arrived with my car or something, and I'm walking into a bar with my car, and it's my transport, it's my first love, it's my exercise, it's everything. It's like compact, and it's an amazing object. And I feel like those kids, to me, like, are experiencing things that I experience with that. It's, you have this item that you can really just go and skate street anytime you want, and you have it under your fingertips, you know. It's like to your disposal.
Yeah, that's the right way.
And it's incredible, and you can see the excitement in them. And I sometimes have that feeling, but I must say it has digressed over time, like with age and stuff, like having to like realize that you need a job, you need to focus on other things that's not skateboarding. It ends up being more towards that side, you know, and then you actually get pretty excited seeing it in them, because then, like today, I'm like maybe, I'm probably 10 to 12 years older than them, but I was skating the spots with them, and I was getting excited through them, because their energy is like the energy I had when I was their age, and the excitement of skateboarding. And that's why it's really cool skating with younger guys, because you feed off of that. Even though you don't have that full energy, I had to go get like food, because I was like, my energy levels were dropping, you know, because I'm like quite a bit older now. Like you need certain things to like. That's why a lot of us, these younger kids might notice, but you'll see like me or Jan or Dennis or Hubert going off and like getting a coffee at like 1 o'clock, you know. It's for the reasons,
taking a little break.
Yeah, but not taking a break, but you kind of need that like coffee boost, because your energy levels aren't the same anymore. Like, and we're not going to go and drink Red Bulls and energy drinks or like Monsters, you know. Like it's maybe not our choice, but like a coffee every now and then is the same thing. But you know, it's
maybe a little bit healthier as well.
Maybe a little bit.
Justy, but I always say this about like having younger friends. It keeps you a little bit current as well. We're getting older. We're in our 30s now. Like we have a different view on life now. And for example, Munro and Liam, I loved skating with them, because I looked at skating and I got stuck in my way of looking at skating, and I would still skate with a 7.8 inch board, and then I would notice the young cats are like coming through with much wider boards. So I always appreciated that, and that's what I kind of feel with Alex and Ethan as well. Plus, Alex and Ethan, I follow them. I don't know them personally, but I follow them on Instagram, and they are always skating. They are always skating, and that's a really cool thing. That's something I relate to as well. That you're that age and all you want to do is fucking skate. Dude.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
Yeah, but that's another thing that that I've sat in a few conversations where we were not skating, and I'm actually more impressed of how, I don't know, this is probably a weird conversation, but to me, I feel like we do give a lot of advice to those kids. They might actually get over it, but they do listen, and they're super sweet. But we're older, obviously, and we're stupid like that. Like, we just want to see someone succeed and do better than what we did, maybe, because we didn't have the same role models in our lives when we were coming up and skating, because everyone that was sort of skating around us was sort of our age, and there would be like maybe a handful of older dudes. It would be like maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, you guys were essentially like part of the pioneer movement in South Africa. It feels in a way like the whole Christy Vian.
Those guys, they had a basic seed. And we were obviously the young kids in the background, seeing the scene and maybe getting a flash in there here and there. So to them, they own that time era, and like maybe now it's our time era. And it's now those kids, those are the like newer generation of kids. But what I was saying, like I've sat in those conversations before where you bad gives some really great advice, and then I chip in, and then maybe Marcel does, and like whoever's around, and we're all the same age. Like we grew up, we all born in 87, we all 30, well, we're turning 35, or we're still 34, turning 35. But we all are at that similar like mindset where we think a lot about future, where we think a lot about great, we're like halfway through our 30s, we need to be a lot better at the life thing. You know, we can't just be skate rats anymore. So we do spill a lot of advice over onto these kids. I wonder if they go like afterwards like, wow, that was too much, like these guys need to calm down. But we still give it in hope that they would take it to heart, and I'm sure they do, because I think a lot of them are like looking at things differently, and you can see it. So I think it's good. I do feel bad for them, because I know like that age, you just want to fucking skate, dude. You want to hear like advice on maybe investing and like saving your money. You want to go out and jowl and drink, like you don't want to hear those things. But I mean, at least those things are in the back of their minds.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking strictly about Alex and Ethan and Devondre. It's any real kid that hangs out with us that is younger, and you can see there's a lot of potential. But yeah, we just grew up in a different world, because we knew it's difficult to make it as a skateboarder if you're from South Africa. Yeah. So you need to have a second life apart from skateboarding to I don't know, just to have like a better outlook on life. It's weird to say, like I would love to be like, dude, just skate and like succeed, but it is really difficult. So
but on that topic, like I remember a few years ago, me, you and Gio were sitting down having a beer, and I remember you telling me you never really planned your future. You never like, it was just skating all the way. But now that's not the impression I get. It seems like you have everything pretty sorted out. I mean, you have
it's quite recent. That's why I guess that is why I look at it in a sense of like trying to better someone else's outlook, you know, because to me my life started a bit late in that sense. It's kind of why I also see it in like a lighter angle to them. If I'm giving them advice, I'm kind of being a bit it's not the right way to do it, because I did it so late, because I was like, for years I was just skating and trying to be a musician and trying to be an artist, and then like all of those things don't really make money and you don't really have stability.
Yeah.
But I did all of those things because I knew I loved it, and I knew something will come of it, you know. But it did take its time, and it's toll. Like a lot of the people around me I've had incidences where I didn't lose friends, but I did annoy friends, because I was always like low on cash, and I was always like just floating, you know. I didn't have like my own place. I didn't have things, you know, and that really, I went through years of anxiety because of it. It was horrible. I went through like 5 years of intense anxiety that I had to deal with, because I didn't have stability in my life. And once I gained that stability, all that anxiety feelings and all that
just
crap just disappeared, man. And now I like preach it as much as I can. I'm just like, dudes, if you ever get that anxiety feeling, it's like all of this stuff happening now with skateboarding and the mental health issues that are happening and coming out. Like that's a big thing, man. And skateboarders get a lot of it, because you deal, like when I went to go see a doctor because of it, because I was a bit worried at the time, like this anxiety thing wasn't really going away, and it was like bothering me quite a bit. And then I realized, like, because he said, like, dude, you in like quite a stressful lifestyle. Like your skateboarding put you in this this mindset that it's sort of like fight or flight mode, like, because we put ourselves in very stressful situations, like where you can hurt yourself, where you're pushing yourself in a way that you don't really know what you're doing because it's something you're doing for the first time.
Yeah.
And there's friends around you they're like hyping you up, but you still have this like fear in you that you're like, you could hurt yourself really badly. And like us as skateboarders go through that a lot, you know, and you don't really mentally afterwards go, I was totally fine, like what I thought about then is over now and it's fine. That stuff sticks in you, like it stays inside you, and you don't think about it, but it builds up inside of you.
Yeah.
And if you maybe go skate one day and you have all this like built up angst of like trying stuff and like hurting yourself, falling, getting up, keep going, forcing yourself to think it's totally fine, I'm gonna be fine, like I'm gonna land this. An hour and a half later, your body's exhausted and you're pushing your body through that. Your body goes through so much like turmoil through skateboarding, but you still do it because you love it so much, and that's a kind of like cog and mechanism that makes you keep skating.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of skateboarders can, I'm just maybe talking about myself, maybe other skateboarders can deal with it a lot better than I did, but for me, after having that conversation with the doctor, I was thinking about it quite a lot, and I was like, wow, it is really doing that to me. Like I could feel it. Like your brain hits a certain level of like coping with those things, and then you go back home, you having dinner or you relaxing, you're not actually relaxed yet. Like your brain is still firing off with like what happened that day, and it takes quite a while to come down from all of that adrenaline. That's the right word. Like that adrenaline build in your body and your brain, like even like your blood cells are pumping, like flying, you know, because it's euphoric too. But all of those things, it's like taking cocaine during the day, and like you fired your brain to such a high extent, and then you go home and just relax. That's like almost a really bad thing to do, but mentally and like your body like struggles to deal with that stuff, and I, because I was going through that time of those 5 years, I didn't really have a job, I didn't really have something to attach to and not skate, so I was constantly trying to find someone to skate with, trying to get that feeling back, because it's the only way I felt normal.
Yeah.
And going through that time, like I realized that was a very toxic way of dealing with it, because you're never really dealing with the actual problem, which is maybe distracting yourself with something to have a calm feeling too. That's why, like, for me, art is a very calming feeling, and I mean, the band side, it's not a very calming feeling. It's you building up that angst again, that energy that you need to, like, for me, I mean, there's maybe other bands that don't do it like that, but for me, I need that energy release. I need that feeling, you know? So to me, that art side was the one that always kind of saved me, in a sense of like, this is like my saving grace for becoming a bit more stable, and using my energies in a sense of like translating it somewhere, you know. It's like, it's a strange thing. I mean, it's a very artistic and like way to look at it, but to me it was like, at least I had something to push myself towards and to calm myself and make myself focus on something.
And like kind of in a way fall back on that.
Yeah. I mean, at that time, it was like doing freelance graphic work, and from there trying to make money off of that, and then maybe building some more anxiety and stress. But yeah, I got to that point where it was there, and then I had to try and make a living off of that again. Maybe I'm going a bit too deep into this, but what I'm trying to say is it boiled down to me still stuck in that world for so long, and then being able to become a bit more solidified. Maybe it was because I was also bartending for very long.
Yeah.
And that also pushed my hours quite late, and it was also maybe not good for me mentally.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of I wouldn't say that's the reason why I started apprenticing for tattooing. I think it was maybe the reason why I was like, I need something else, man. Like this lifestyle I've chosen for myself is maybe not the best. Even though I really do love it. I love the people in a bar and the way things are, and the fact that I can have my days free and I can work at night and still make money and still have my days free for music, for skateboarding. I was sponsored at the time, and I just wanted to do the best for the sponsors I had at the time, you know. And I thought that was like my formula. I had to figure it out. But then again, I was still hitting these intense like anxiety, like shocks. Like it was happening a lot less because I was making money and I wasn't feeling like I was like feeding off of people and like being a burden. But yeah, and then it was really Judy also, like we were both bartending at this similar times, and we both looked at each other one day and we were like, I think it was probably after like a really intense day at the bar, like got home at like maybe 3 a.m.
Sure.
And it was just like disgusting. Like the people at the bar was just really gnarly that night. And it happened for both of us. We worked at separate places, but it must have been, I don't know, like a first Thursday or something, like really like a heaving night that put us in such a mindset. We were like, we can't do this anymore. This is not healthy, you know? And since we made that decision, we came back. It didn't happen instantly. We weren't like, great, let's quit and let's try something else. It was like kind of brainstorming over the next few like weeks and months. What can we do? Like what are we good at? What is our plan of action for the future? Like, because we need to better our situations right now. And we both made that choice. Like Judy, like I can go into hair because she studied it for a bit. She's like, that's something I can do. Like it's social, it's more calm, it's not bartending. It's like, it's a great environment. And then for me, I had friends in the tattoo world for years, and I always looked at it, and they maybe must have told me once or twice, like, you should try it because you do art, like
it's the perfect combination.
But to me, I was like, man, like drawing on someone that it'll stay there forever. Like, what if you mess it up? Like, how do you fix that? Like, to me, it was just, didn't make sense to me. It scared the living shit out of me, you know? And shit, I did it one day. I just spoke to Manuela. It's just I became good friends with her because she frequented Judy's bar where she worked at Power and Glory, and we met there and we became friends there. And I just thought, flip, like maybe just try ask her. Like I know she's got a private studio. She was done with Wildfire, and I just I just kind of buckled my way in there because she was there. She told me, like, if you ever have like art projects, like if you want to paint, you're more than welcome in my studio. I've got tons of space. Like you can just come paint. It's cool. And I was like, oh, that's kiff. Like maybe I should try that. Maybe I should start doing some painting in my free time. Like that's kind of it wasn't immediately like I'm gonna become a tattoo artist today. It wasn't like that. It was cool, maybe I can start illustrating, and maybe if I'm in a studio space I can focus more on that and maybe become a bit more established in an artistic manner like that. Cool, I start up. Like Manuel is super nice to me, and she's like giving me a space to work. And I think in her head she was like, no, he's gonna start tattooing probably. And I was like very interested because she was doing tattooing, and I was just like, I need to try this. And she was like, well, there's no trying. There's working towards getting to trying. And I was like, actually, let's do that. I'm down. I need to focus. I need to put my head in a better space.
Commit,
dude. Because I heard from other tattooers, they were like, dude, like apprenticing is the worst. You spend like 3 to 4, 5 years of your life like just practicing and just cleaning and doing hard labor and working. And I was like, that was not me, man. I was not a hard worker. I was a skate rat musician, and who was gonna get me to do that, you know? And it's so disgusting, but I was that guy. And I got to her spot, and she really was so nice about everything, and she gave me a really good space to ease into it, and she really gave me a cool outlook on tattooing. And like since then I was hooked. I was like, I have to learn how to do this. This is really important stuff, like, because that's another thing that I don't know, like if people don't get tattooed from Manuela, they won't know that, but she's a really kind soul. Like she speaks to her clients, she like has like intense conversations with them and is really nice. And to me it was like really calming to be like the fly on the wall during that situation, because it is a private studio. It's just her and the client, and then me either doing some apprentice stuff, like doing some fake skin tattoos in the back, drawing some flash, or like checking her emails, making her bookings. Like I was always the fly on the wall in the back, you know. And just listening to her speak to clients and like how positive their experience is at the shop, and how she treats a client like that, like
such a valuable thing.
It's very valuable, and I learned so much from that. I was like, that's so important. It's like it's one of the like main percentages of tattooing, because people come in, they're scared, and they come in there like anxious to get this tattoo because it hurts, man. And it's like, it's a commitment. It's like, I'm getting this for life. Like, so people come in there quite intense, and they feel intense, and if you can bring them down to a level where they're fully calm and like happy that they are there and getting a tattoo, then you're doing your job right. And I learned a lot from that. And then my years like moving from there, because it's a private studio, I wasn't really learning as much as I could have.
Yeah.
And I couldn't progress as much as I could have. Maybe I could have like but anyway, my like life was pushing towards going a bit bigger and learning from a few people in a shop situation. And Julian, my friend again, I don't know if you've ever met Julian.
Mm-mm.
Okay. But yeah, he managed to, because he got a lot of tattoos from Cape Electric, and he managed to talk those guys into seeing me and like chatting to me, because he obviously, while he's getting tattooed, he's talking about me. I was never there, so I can't tell you what he said, but he probably butted them up a little bit, and they were happy to see me one day, and I went up and met them, and they were just kind of like accommodating. They were like, let's have it, let's try it out, man. You might not last, you might not do well, and then we'd have to tell you to leave, but you just have to understand that. And they are very professional in their ways, and I spent a year and a bit there and learned tons from them, like tons. And my journey carried on from there, and I'm at Tomb as a full-time tattoo artist. And
wow.
Yeah, like it's definitely from that decision that me and Judy made, like let's try and improve on some stuff like in our lives. Like my anxiety levels are like close to none, like
way down.
Yeah, it's way down, and I feel a lot healthier in a sense of like if you find yourself some sort of like stability, and this might reference back to like what we were talking about the kids earlier and the skate kids like doing that stuff like that. If you can get to a level where you can maybe give yourself some stability somewhere else, maybe the skateboarding can give you stability too. Who knows? Like maybe you start a t-shirt company, maybe you start a board company. Like you never know. Like that could give you the stability that can keep you in the skate scene, and you can be your own boss. Like
you can make
you know what I mean? Like there's so many ways, but it kind of referenced back to that, and it really did help me when we talk about like mental health, like mentally, like that road I took to get to where I am, like has definitely put my mind in a lot healthier situation. I feel like I could almost give this advice like I'm giving now, like to someone that is struggling with mental health. Like that was my solution. If you're looking for that sort of solution, if that's maybe your just giving it a try, I guess is also a good one.
Justy, I would love to keep talking about this. Let's take a quick little break. I really got to pee. Just want to check on the fire, and then we've already been chatting for 55 minutes, dude.
You're hectic.
Yeah, it feels like in a way like the stuff you went through was motivation to kind of start working on your future in a way, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's really interesting to me is that I think a lot of people do not realize the perseverance and effort that goes into becoming a tattoo artist, and like how time sensitive that is. How many years have you like put into your craft already?
So I think my experience has probably been pushed a little bit quicker than some. I think because I maybe went back and forth, it was shortened a bit. But I did 2.5 years with Manuela, and then I did a year and a bit at Cape Electric, and now I'm at Tomb for at least 7 months now, 8 months. What's the math on that? It's 3.5. So give or take 4 years, maybe.
That's a lot of time, dude. But in the bigger picture, the older we get, it feels like time is moving faster. So 4 years is essentially like not a lot of time.
Yeah, it really isn't. Like when I think about it now, I think I almost feel bad in some way because maybe I could have, because in a sense it's studying, right? Apprenticing is really studying. It's free studies, but that's why you sort of work, you clean, you do all the hard work. I'm not going to get into that, but it's a lot of stuff you do to sort of build your way up into becoming. So right now I'm not like a full-blown tattoo artist, and I can't claim it yet. Like I'm still a junior artist, so that's kind of like my role at Tomb, whereas I'm a junior artist. The cool thing about Tomb is that they work more as a creative space. So you work for yourself. You're a freelancer. You don't get a salary. I don't know if that.
Do you work on a commission basis?
Yes. So you not
exactly
commission.
The same as me.
I guess in a sense you work percentage. So it's a certain percentage goes to the shop and another percentage goes to yourself.
That's exactly what commission means.
Okay, sorry. I think commission is like if you make a few sales, then you get extra.
Yeah, we in my industry we also work on commission, so exactly the same concept. A percentage go towards the owners, and
but this is super interesting because I've had a few dentists on my chair at the tattoo shop, and we had this conversation, and it's really interesting.
A lot of similarities.
Very similar, like similar equipment that we use, similar sanitary. Procedures and shit. Like ours is maybe a little bit more like under the radar. Like people might not assume that that's how we operate.
I believe you guys do it better than us, bro. I'm serious though. From what I've listened to speaking of, heard from speaking to you, you guys take the sterilization very, very seriously, which is a super, super good thing.
I mean, it might be similar to maybe some sort of surgery, because you are cutting skin and there's a lot of blood. So I had to, part of my apprenticeship was doing a bloodborne pathogen exam, and then you get a certificate for it, because
that's really cool, Justin.
like I know
that's right up my alley.
But that's the funny thing, because I was so like why do I need to do this? Like, oh, it's so annoying. It's like such a schlep. But when I was forced to do it, because they were like, dude, you are out of the shop if you don't do this exam. And I was like, okay, I have to do it now. Like, I pulled up my study socks. I was like, I don't want to do it, man. I'm like in my 30s and I now have to study.
It's not easy,
like,
bro.
I was not in the mindset coming back to me being a freaking punk, like a skate punk. Like that's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to conform to this. And then I had to do it, and I have like no regrets. Like, that was the best thing I could have done, because
very rewarding.
It's super important. I don't actually want to go too deep into it, but now when I tattoo,
I want to, quickly before you go, I want to go deep into it.
Okay.
You guys you learned about hepatitis. Yeah, hepatitis B.
Yes, there's all of them. It's all the bloodborne pathogen ones. I think there's a bunch of alphabet ones.
Hepatitis A, B.
Yeah.
But I think the B is the one that we're going to focus on, because it's the blood. It's the bloodborne one. I hope I'm correct. I might be wrong.
I'm so bad at this. I did the exam.
It's confusing.
I was super intuitive at the time, but over time, since I've done it, I've forgotten everything already.
You got to repeat it.
But it's almost like it's there mentally, but your theory behind it. Like, I'm not going to be able to name all the things, but my procedures I practice every day. So it is almost second nature. So when I do it, I'm not gonna, because I tattooed a doctor the other day, and she was asking me questions, man, and I felt like an idiot, because she was almost burning me. She was like testing me in a sense, and I was just like, man, I wish I had a better brain for this stuff, like a separate memory bank that can keep theory like that. But I'm more of like I have an artistic brain. I don't keep that stuff in me. Like, the theory part of things is theoretical, art is like expressive, and I have a more expressive brain. Like, the theoretical side of things,
I understand what you mean.
I felt like such a dumbass. Like we were talking now, like the hepatitis thing, I can't tell you what all the things you're trying to prevent from happening, but I know the procedures you have to go through to be able to prevent that stuff, because it gets jammed into you while you're learning. Because part of my apprenticeship was setting up stations of the tattooers in the shop and setting down for them. So you end up learning, like, you have your clean hand, you have your dirty hand, and to set things up, because there's cloths there full of blood, you've been wiping the skin with blood involved, those things get put on the table, and your whole station is covered in plastic, and it's sanitary, like all of it's metal, like it doesn't have like anything bad that can like let like a disease
microorganism causing trouble.
Yes, and all of that you learn by setting up and setting down for those guys, because now it's not your space. You didn't work there, so you're not aware of what's there, and you're not aware of what the client had. So it's almost like a fearful thing. You're like scared, like you almost don't want to breathe in the beginning. I remember when I was setting up and sitting down, there's like these cloths covered in people's blood and ink, and I was like, man, this is creepy, dude. Like you like cleaning up after people. It's like a surgery. Like you like cleaning bloody things. Like the needles are full of blood. Like everything is like, and it has to be disposed of properly. Like there really is. I don't know if people ever think of this when they go get a tattoo, but it is really important. You have to treat every client as if they have these diseases in them. And funny enough, like tattooing never had that. Tattoo artists not so long ago were tattooing without gloves, and
dentistry was practiced without gloves as well.
Yeah, it is funny. I was in a car. This is so side note, but I was in Uber on my way to work once, and on the radio they were talking about that specific experience, and it must have been on 5FM, and it was like a call-in thing, and people can explain their stories of when they went to a dentist as a kid, what was the tastes they got from the dentist's hands. That was the conversation. It was so good. I was so, like, because it related so well to me, like in tattooing, I was just like, what, dentists without gloves? Like, that to me was so crazy. And then the funniest one, the person that called in was saying that they tasted brye on the dentist's hands. And I was like, funny enough, like now in this situation, like having this conversation with you as a dentist and as an avid briar, I was just like, this is perfect. But yeah, it's so funny. This person that called in said they could taste the guy's briar from the night before.
Bro, I want to tell you a story about that, but I quickly want to get back to hepatitis.
Yeah.
Just this is something that I would explain to my students as well.
Mm-hmm.
A nice way to remember hepatitis B is the B stands for bodily fluids. So that relates to anything like blood related.
It's like plasma also, because we deal a lot with that. Like sometimes people ask like, am I bleeding a lot? And then they don't actually bleed a lot. When I say they, sorry, clients. Like clients don't really bleed a lot. It's only like rare occasions, depending on where you're tattooing on the body.
Yeah.
But they don't actually bleed that much. It's more plasma. It's like a watery liquid that comes out, and that, I guess that also relates to bodily fluid. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So when I moved to the Eastern Cape in 2015, I started working for a group of dentists that were. I mean, they were legends. They were for Eastern Cape dentists. They were really progressive. They were super up to date with the latest technology, latest procedures and stuff. But there's a section of them that's still old school dentists. So they're in their 60s and 70s, and they come from a background where there wasn't really any gloves. There wasn't really any face mask. But the thing that stood out to me is that they used to smoke in the practice.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, and
imagine that inchy finger in your mouth.
Dude, and I've had like multiple patients that came to me and they were like, oh, do you know this like doctor? And it was one of the old school doctors, and the patient would tell me how they went to them as a child and they would like... They would smell like inchy, like you wouldn't believe, and they would
imagine they like literally just take a drag, put the cigarette next to them, and then put that fresh ciggy finger in the mouth.
Bro, like, and that's the thing with inchies as well. It seems like after a while you don't really smell yourself anymore. But the smell is, if you think that you're gonna hide smoking,
being a non-smoker, and that happens to you as a kid, even like
or thinking that you're gonna hide your smoking habits from your parents, and it's impossible.
But almost sometimes, like even if you just wash your hands quickly, that smell is still there.
It
lingers. You have to like scrub your hands.
It lingers, dude.
But dating a non-smoker, man, like really has given me what would you say, like a
fresh perception.
Yeah, like that perception, but of like it's almost like an insecurity. When I go for a cigarette, in my mind I'm like, oh man, like super stinky, like, and I try and be as accommodating as possible, like try and have like a mint, or like know that I'm gonna wash my hands soon after having the cigarette, you know.
Dude,
so it's like
I learned a lot from the like my sisters and the girls that studied dentistry from me that smoked. Dude, they went through a whole thing. So they would smoke during lunchtime, and before they go back into the clinics, it's like clean your hands, a hand sanitizer, a hand cream, brush your teeth, use a mint as well, and then use a perfume, and then sometimes even like a face, like what do you call it, like a face cream that seems to mask the smell as well. So but still, it's like even for me, some patients that go through a vigorous cleansing procedure, if they're smokers and they come to the practice, you can still kind of smell in a way like they're smokers.
I had to go to a dentist a few times because I got a root canal.
Yeah.
And every time I go, like, same procedure, man. Like, and literally my dentist is across the road from me.
Oh,
like
shit.
You went to my
the
house
one in the
today.
corner?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not my dentist, it was just so convenient. So I just
would do
went
the same.
there. And man, the procedure is just terrifying. I'm just like, this person's going to be all up in my mouth, you know? Like, why would I grace them with this awful smell or so? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you get a lot of clients that are just like, they don't think like that. And I'm sure you get a lot of stinky mouths through your door.
We I wouldn't say it's like a common thing, actually. Okay. I think it's maybe just a thing that not a lot of people are aware of that. Yeah. But dude, I wanted to say earlier, I think another thing our careers have in common is the stressful factor that the patient experiences before they come in. And that's why I'm saying, like, the experience you had with Manuela, it's very valuable. It's very valuable being in a position and where you click, like, listen, I have to kind of watch this person and not only see how she applies the tattooing technique, but kind of learn how she interacts with the client. Dude, super valuable. Valuable.
I mean, there's movies of that, like visuals of people going into a dentist room and sitting there and there's someone screaming in the other room. You know what I mean? Like, that's the same with tattooing. That sound, like, of machines, like, buzzing. Like, I almost every time I put on my tattoo machine, I have a process that I go through. I don't blare my machine straight off the bat.
You don't blare your machine?
Yeah, like, put it on, and then, because a lot of people, because the thing with the tattoo machine, there's two ways of doing, or maybe a few other ways of doing it, but there's a switch. The one switch, you press one button and it stays on, so that you don't have to go back and forth, and it's also not sanitary because you have to click the switch every time, and like, that's why there's some of them have foot pedals.
Yeah.
So that you don't have your
what a nice invention.
Yeah. So with my machine, it's a power station that has all the buttons on it. So we cover that with the cling wrap, so it's sanitary, but you have to click it every time to put it on and off.
Okay.
So for me, when the client sits down, there's a full-on procedure I go through that when I have friends, it's a bit different. It's a bit more relaxed. I take my time and do different things. But when I do the walk-ins that are like people I don't know, or maybe someone has emailed or made an appointment through my Instagram and have come in for a tattoo, I treat it very differently. I'm maybe a creature of habit where I do these things. Like, I might even be a little bit OCD when it comes to stuff like that. I think good. Tattooing has also maybe made it even a bit more because I'm the kind of person that would line things up, like, just aesthetically. It's more of an aesthetic thing. It's not like I'm only moving these things now that I'm showing you. Like, if I have this beer over here and this whiskey, I'd like them to be like lined up nice. But
it's definitely not OCD, Justy.
I know, but it's not. I didn't do it before. You know what I mean? It's just something. If I put my mind to it, like, I'd like it to be like rad. It would look cool. In a sense of it being like, it looks neat.
I really like that. I experience it as a surgeon's approach to doing a procedure.
But in the sense, it's like you need to put your head in some mental situation where you can feel fully confident with stuff. And that, to me, doing that procedure and putting things in a certain place and it being structured gives your mind like a good like indication that you're in the zone.
Yeah.
I guess, if that makes sense. Like I would there's instruments, there's things that you have on your station that you use. And I mean, this also came from setting up for my masters at the previous place, Cape Electric. Like I had a set up for them, and each and every one had a different way of how they wanted their station set up. And by doing that every time, it made that OCD thing like on another level, you know. I never had it as much before, but now it gave it to me even more. And when I tattoo now, like there's things that I put down like almost like you say, like it's a surgical thing. You put your tools next to each other, you separate them good prepping. So that it's a prep thing. And it just, to me, I'm fully aware of what I'm doing, but I have to do it every time just so I know like it's going to be the same for me mentally, because if I mess it up, it might mess my tattooing up. And it's a mental thing. It probably doesn't work like that at all. But if I don't do it like that, I might feel a little uncomfortable and it might make me fuck the tattoo up. You know what I mean?
Dude, I guess it's a little bit time sensitive as well. Sometimes you have bookings.
Yeah.
So I find that preparation being valuable in the sense that you spend valuable time with your client instead of running around trying to organize everything while you're tattooing. Yeah. And then executing the tattoo or the procedure is so much better. You'll get a much better quality product if you're prepped, if you're well prepped for it.
Yeah, it's like, there's an element of being loose and fun, and then there's an element of being concentrated, but in a sense where you are fully in control of what you're doing. Yeah. Because I could definitely relate my fun and like I don't know, creative side to it, but it's not gonna work for it, man. Like it's gonna create some, like there's hepatitis B, like it's gonna fuck with that. So I had to make a conscious decision by not being that loose and fun about it. I had to be very serious, and that's in a sense coming back to the mental health thing, where it gave me a lot of like serious I don't know, like influence, so that I can have a bit of a better mental like hold on myself, you know, which is pretty rad. I'm really stoked that world was opened up to me, because it really did sort my like mental issues I had before, because it was now putting me in like a more concentrated, more like serious setting, and I was able to like kind of level out my maybe erratic brain that was maybe giving me that anxiety feeling, because now I was able to like level it out by being a bit more constructive about things. So I think it really did help, like having that serious like strict setting definitely helped, I would say.
A little bit of discipline.
Yeah, a little bit of discipline, man. Like definitely sorted the brain tweaks out.
Justy, but how much do you think like the perseverance element of skateboarding contributes to like your professional life now? I mean, there's something that's something valuable skateboarding taught me, is that when you start out your shit and then after a few months you start landing something. I'll never forget the first time I landed a kickflip, but it was a straight 3-year build up to get to that level. Yeah. And now I find like especially with drumming and skateboarding, I apply a lot of like that perseverance, learning the art to my career as well. You know, like the fact that I can accept failure at the beginning, but I know if I keep trying, it will eventually work out. Do you experience similar?
For sure.
For
sure, man. Like, it's so funny. Like, for years, I was just skating around people that had it good. You know, they were skating, and they were skating really good because they also had skateboards. Like, I don't know, like their parents would buy them skateboards, and I didn't have that. And my mom was like not supporting me in the beginning. She was like, I'm too scared for you, like you're gonna hurt yourself. I don't want to support that. And I fully got it. Like, I thought it was a very mom thing to do. Like, I only thought about this afterwards. At the time I was like, Mom, we suck. I need a board. But like thinking about it afterwards, I was like, shame. My mom was just like, oh no, like he's just gonna hurt himself. Like, this is bad. Like, and the people he hangs out with are like Dylan Roybocki. And she saw him, and I think she was like, whoa, I don't know about this guy. He's like 5 years older than him. Like, he's like a naughty dude. Like, yeah.
Is Dylan's older than you?
Yeah, Dylan's older than me, man.
What a
It's so crazy. I don't know. I've said this so many times in interviews and stuff. Like, he got me into skateboarding. It's such a trip. Like, and I mean, I've obviously taken a lot more to skateboarding, and like made it like my life goal. Whereas Dylan is just like, he does everything. He does everything like really good, but like master of most. You know what I mean? Like, and when I skate with him now, he's just like, dude, please can I skate with you? It's so sick to watch you skate or something. Wow. And I'm just like, come on, bro. Like, how crazy is that? Like, process of like, I don't know. That was probably 20 years ago, 21 years ago, where he got me into skateboarding, and then my road led to me becoming this guy that is a skateboarder. But he rollerblades, he skates, he's a musician, he's an actor, he's crazy, and he's really influenced me to also be like very much, don't focus on one thing, man. Like, there's way more to life. Like, you have talents as a human being, go out and try it. Like, don't be scared. And he gave me that. When I met him, I attached so much to his energy because it was so special, and he's lived that life. He's a great human for that, and I am so grateful that I ended up experiencing him as like, he's almost like an entity to me. He's become my like brother, my like best friend, but he's really like given me such a nice gift, where maybe my dad didn't give it to me, or like my peers, like maybe my friends, because a lot of my friends are not as influential. That entity that Dylan was, that he gave me, because I just like sucked his energy my way. I was like, I need more of that. Like, he was like doing music when I was like a kid, you know. He was playing guitar then, and I was like, wow, dude, like, you're so cool. How can you play an Iron Maiden song? I'm like 14, 15, you know, like looking at this dude like, dude, he's so cool. Like, bro, you know what I mean? Like, I had that guy, and I'm stoked.
But I'm curious, like, if Dylan is an Eastern Cape cat, I mean, Ziggy is in Cape St. Francis. How did your paths cross with Dylan?
So I think he grew up that side. He grew up St. Francis. Excuse me. He grew up St. Francis. He was born just outside St. Francis, and he grew up that side and PE side, but then moved here because his mom might have come down here. His dad stayed that side. His mom might have moved down this side, and then he went to my school, my high school.
Fishoek.
Yeah. So Fishoek. So he was in Fishoek High School. I was still in the middle school, because Fishoek had this thing where they broke their schools up in 3. There was a primary school, a middle school, and a high school. And I was still in my last years of my middle school, and he was in his last years of the high school. And I met him during that time, but my brother, I think, is the same age as him, or just a year younger or older or something like that. And I met him because I used to go watch my brother practice basketball on the basketball court at the high school. So I used to hang out there and then shoot some hoops like on the side when like all the older guys were done, you know. I would just, that was like my pastime. And then Dylan was skating to like right next to the basketball court,
No
like
way.
in his section. I was just like, my eyes were just like shooting that direction the whole time. I was just like, what is going on there? That looks so fun. Like, that looks so fun. And they were doing it in such a way where it's like, I mean, he probably still skates like that, where he would like pick his board up and like throw it somewhere, and it's just like think it's funny, like, and cool, like. And I saw that and I was like, that is like, what is that? Come on, like, that is so cool, like, what? And yeah, he could skate like pretty good actually back then. Like, I remember, like, if I think about it now, I remember seeing him do like half cab heel flips and like ollieing over like high things. But then we would also do like really weird stuff because he's a rollerblader also. So he would do a lot of boneless type things and like caveman stuff, like where you flick your board up, grab it, and like do like a weird trick. And yeah, I just remember seeing that and I was like, this isn't any sport I know. Like, I didn't think I've ever seen a skateboard before that in my life.
Wow.
It was rugby, cricket, and at that time I was just getting into basketball maybe because my brother was super into it, you know. And yeah, then I saw that and I was like, it's insane. Because Fisher didn't really have. They had a skate park actually. It was built for Tony Hawk. He did a demo there.
Fuck.
How crazy is that? They built a skate park for Tony Hawk. He skated the half pipe. They built like a big steel half pipe there.
Was this the same time they demoed at Boogaloosh?
I'm not sure. I can't even remember. It because I must have been like 13, 14. I'm not even going to do maths right now.
Bro,
or
I think it
history.
might have been the same time because Tony Hawk, Steve Berra, they all came down to, I remember the Century City Boogaloosh. They skated that park, so it might have been like, and it was years ago.
But dude, I honestly don't even think Boogaloos was around then.
Can be.
Think about it. If I was like that young, it was like long ago. I'm a bully.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. But that was the story behind that skate park, and I never saw that thing until that moment with Dylan, and the moment where I was like, I want to do this, and then I would pull up to that place and like see if I can like borrow a board or something. And I distinctively remember like going up this huge black metal half pipe. It was like probably 12 feet or something that had vert, and you would go up there, sit at the top, and like not even skate, but just sit on the coping and then just be like, whoa, this is like a crazy slide. Like, how hectic, like, because you free fall for a bit and then you hit the transition. So yeah, we did that quite often when we went to that skate park as kids, and we just do that. And then once I kind of recognized that from Dylan, like, I was like, oh my word, like Vaynant was skating for like maybe a few months before then, or like learning how to skate because he got one for a birthday or something. And then there were maybe 2 other kids in our school at the time that was messing around with skating, and then it built up from there, you know. Like, I didn't own my first skateboard for like maybe a year or 2. So I never progressed at that time. So Vaynant was progressing like intensely like at that time. And by the time I got my own skateboard and I could actually skate, like, I remember Vaynant like doing like a kickflip melon.
Wow.
and I was like learning how to like grind and do flip tricks and skate like a skate park. And I rocking up at the skate park, and Vayner was doing like kickflip melons, bro.
Yeah, so
like,
you had to
off of a
catch
kicker.
up a bit, dude.
Yeah, and he played a big role in that. He was into filming from probably day one of skating. Like, he also got hold of his parents' camera, and he was already tinkering with filming back then, dude, like 20 years ago. And he sort of invited me. He said, cool, like let's get some clips at the skate park. And he didn't say that. No one spoke like that back then. He was like, I'll shoot you on my video camera for this thing. And for this thing I'm working on.
Clips wasn't part of the lingo
Clips
yet.
wasn't in the lingo. And then it was all like HDVX probably. No, not HDVX. It was just like a dad cam with the tapes.
Yeah.
But like it had the full like VH tape in the
big
camera.
one.
Yeah. So it wasn't the small tapes, it was the big ass.
Yeah.
that thing you filmed with it, you took it home, you put it straight into your VHS player, and then
You did your editing from there.
You recorded with I think is it 2 TVs? I think it's 1 TV, 2 VCRs.
It's
You're
definitely
playing-
2 VCRs.
Yeah, 2 VCRs. You're playing the one that has the footage, and then the other VCR is kind of there for you to capture. So you have to edit it in real time. So you watch this tape, and then you go, oh, that was a good trick, but that's maybe better like maybe at the end of the part, or like in the middle. So you'd sort of catalog where that was on the VHS. Maybe the time, you'd write the time down. And then you'd go to another specific part. Okay, cool, that'll be like the intro. So you'd press record on the other VCR, and that will be the beginning of your part. If you press record there, it'll be literally real-time recording your video part from that other VHS that you filmed with. So that was like, I used to say, dude, it's so complex, and that's probably why Vayner is such a complex human being. Like, he's been into that stuff from such a young age. Like, he's super amazing, dude. Like, I remember sitting there at his house like for hours, dude, because he would just edit maybe some things that we filmed like in his backyard, because he had like set up all these boxes and rails in his backyard, and his parents were super supportive of it. That help him, like his dad would like facilitate the space and like give him all the tools, and Vayner would build like these crazy things in his backyard, and I'd always go there on weekends to skate it, and like he'd teach me everything, bro. He was killing it. He was
guru.
But like that dude would like he still does it till this day, which is so crazy. It's almost come like full circle, where he made like a full video part himself because no one was there filming him. I ended up getting pushed into the scenario, and I started filming a bit, but there's like maybe like 70% of his part was him putting his camera like on the floor at some angle facing his box that he built, and he would film himself like do a trick like over and over, and he would like get to a point where he landed, and then like it's insane to think about it, because this homie had like all of this like training stuff at his house and he would skate like, apparently, like looking at the footage, I was like, the trick started like when the sun was up, and then the lights came on outside and it's dark, and
now he's still skating.
Like, he's still skating, trying the same trick. So that was really cool to watch, because he must have progressed like insanely fast, because he had that stuff at his house, man. He was just skating constantly.
I'm super impressed. I don't know Vayner. I'm super impressed with his skating. For me, in my later years, my older years, I've started looking more. I don't care about tricks that much anymore, dude. So for me, style is a big thing. The way you handle yourself on and off the skateboard's like a big thing, and that's what I really dig about Vayner. I also get the idea that he's one of those cats that as soon as he climbs on a skateboard, that's what he's supposed to do. I kind of get that feeling. I get the feeling with you as well. Like, you guys are just on a different level when it.
I mean, we fed off each other for years, man. Like that dude is my ride or die, bro. That dude, I've gone through so much of my life is spent with that guy. Like when I say that guy, I say my best friend. You know, like that dude means a lot to me, man. And if you think about it, like in theory, the people you grew up skating with, you spent hours of your life with that person. It's pretty crazy to think about, because you can't, like a rugby player or a tennis player won't say that, because they'll spend 2 hours of their day maybe with that person that maybe call a friend and that they would practice with, like their practicing partner. With that dude, we at the same school, same age. We'd see each other at school. We would build up would plan our day or whatever around, like, we going after school, we're going here to skate, or we're going back to your place after school, and then we're gonna like practice this one trick like that we've been working on. So we'd be at school all the time, the whole day, and then we'd go to wherever to skate, and we'd spend hours doing that, like till the sun went down. So that's like close to 5 hours every time, and you spend so much time with someone, you get to know someone very well, and you build a bond with someone that's special. It's just special. It's you can't really put your finger on it. It's like that's a person that you know so well and you share such good times with. I think that's the best way to think of it. It's like you can't really say that about a lot of your friends, because if you maybe it's, but you know, like skateboarding provides that. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
dude, my best friends are still the cats I skated with in school.
Yeah.
That best man drink thing.
Yes.
That's because of skateboarding.
Yeah.
So I relate with that. I understand the fact you spend a lot of time with them as well.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time while you're skateboarding, but it's also if you're editing footage, you're spending time with them. You're most likely to end up socializing with them as well. So
dude, there was days that I slept over at his house, and then we literally spent almost a full 18-hour day together where we'd be at school together, and then we'd go skate together, and then watch skate videos till the sun went down, and then like hang out together and talk about skateboarding constantly. It's like very obsessive. Skateboarding can get so obsessive, but
I love that about skateboarding.
In a way, that is why we share such an special, I don't know, like, it sounds so lame, but bond. But you know what I'm trying to say? It's almost, that's why we called like a counter culture or something like that. It's a street culture. It's like, it's something you can't really put your finger on. It's not a sport. It's not this. It's not that. It really is. It's just skateboarding. You can't explain it. Like you experience so much that is very different to most sports.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
It's very unique in that sense.
And we've spent close to like almost an hour and a half to 2 hours talking about it and things around it. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty rad. Like I find that I would never look at skateboarding in a bad way. Maybe there can be something that'll change my mind, but
plus we're like in our 30s and we're still skating.
Yeah, people might look at us and be like, "Aren't you too old for that?" And you're like, "Well, maybe, but
maybe you should join us."
Hanging on to the dream, bro.
Maybe you should join us. Huh?
Yeah. Join us.
Jesse, we're reaching the end of the podcast, but I want to just quickly run a few movies past you and just kind of gauge where you're at with that. I'm going to mention the name, and then you either give me a rating.
That sound? Just give me
ASMR. The pop.
Boomblast whiskey.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Dude.
What do you rate that movie out of 10, dude?
Subcultures. Yo, Mortal Kombat, man.
Subcultures, bro.
Why did you come at me with that, dude?
Bro, knowledge.
That's so good. Oh, man, I remember watching that. I was probably like 14, 15.
And you were frothing on the theme song, man.
That song. Bang, 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 bang.
Mortal Kombat!
Yeah, Liu Kang. Oh, man. I actually went as far as to kind of converting Judy into the Mortal Kombat world. I was like, have you ever seen the Mortal Kombat movie? And because I was like maybe playing it at home or something. I can't remember how the conversation came up, but I was like, have you ever seen it? And she's like, no. And I'm like, you have to see this movie. It's so good. And it really is. I mean, the sequels to the first one, I mean, most sequels do mess things up, but that first movie was amazing.
Bro, I enjoyed 2 and 3. I enjoyed Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. I did watch it when I was a little bit older and I didn't enjoy it that much. But Mortal Kombat's a fucking classic, bro.
It's so good.
Double Dragon?
Double Dragon? I can't remember that one so well. I remember the game, but I don't remember the movie so well. It didn't have Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren? Or am I wrong?
Street Fighter, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Go there on Google quick and just see it. I just want to see. Maybe I will remember it if I see who's playing in it. What made you ask me Double Dragon?
Because it's stuff I frothed on when I was younger. Double Dragon, it's on YouTube, ne?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Same movie. Yeah.
Let's see, Double Dragon the movie. Scott Wolf, bruh.
Dude, okay, it's got the bad guy. Is that the bad guy from Terminator? That Robert Patrick dude?
Yeah, dude, that's the bad guy. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's the Mercury dude. Me and Judy watched it the other day.
Bro, check you guys watch Terminator. What a classic movie.
So good.
What a classic movie. And then the last movie is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies.
So good. It's so good.
The ones we grew up with.
I remember that OG one, the one where the turtles look like kind of creepy.
The face ooze one.
Yeah, they look fucking creepy, man. Like that movie they made was a bit of a flop apparently.
I disagree.
But I know, but that's what I mean. Like I remember watching it and I'm being like, I can't believe I'm watching.
But that's what I love about it. It's like they implemented Megatronics because there was no like animation stuff.
Yes.
It was like
they had to like build like these costumes on the people, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the faces were like controlled by machines essentially. Yeah, dude, fucking this was a big part of my like.
Cause the animation was going before that, right? That movie came after the animation.
Yeah,
because I loved the animation on man, like after school, like going and watching Ninja Turtles was so rad.
Theme song, everything was on par. Apparently, I might have this wrong. I'm probably wrong, but I think the animation was built on the figurine, and they needed a way to kind of sell the figurine, so the animation was born out of that, and the animation was a smash success. Yeah, and then. The movies are a bit like critically like criticized. Yeah. And so, but I mean I thoroughly fucking enjoyed those movies, bro.
Hell yeah.
Jussie, thank you so much, bro. It's been a solid chat. We've been chatting for 1 hour 45 minutes. I would love to do this again. For sure. Yeah, dude, I really appreciate it. Maybe we can like have a chat in the future, but let's have a braai now, dude.
Ooh. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm excited.
No way, Jussie.